Is it normal to have a headache like 2 minutes into a conversation?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was worried for a second.
I can understand that. But you know what? Since I'm a DM, I deal with
No,
Uh,
I get it. The show must go on after all, right?
it. Well, without me, the show can't go anywhere. All right. So, are we all good to go? All accounts? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything fine on my end.
All right. Get these set up and we'll be ready to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I do believe we'll be missing two. One of them will be here later, the other one will be missing. However, the show will go on. So, without further ado, I will load up our intrepid game of tabletop, and then we'll go ahead and get ourselves kicked off for today. But the recap first. As we last left off with our intrepid adventuring party, finding themselves rather ingrained within the attack or siege of the city, after finding out just possibly what might have happened after a slight flight through the town on the hands of Volus, after running into what seemed to be an arcane duel between some black armored figure of what seemed to be a drow matron with half of her face covered in a large arachnid tattoo.
hmm.
And as we pick up with the rest of our party after after Volus, sorry, wrong party. After Volus finding and relinking back to the rest of the party, finding himself rather shocked at what ended up happening and what he had witnessed. But nonetheless, we find ourselves back together as the party under some notion of request from the Lord Brokenridge in their estate to meet with him in his seemed to be secret observatory. And as you were released, Clyde, you sent out to go return and gather the rest of the party. But
Mhm.
to avail of
Well, wait.
Volus
So
yet again.
Clyde went with
Yeah, Clyde went out and met Volus. Volus went out because you didn't want to go back to the ship. Oh, actually, no.
Clyde and Rowan went back
Damn
to
it! I keep
Rose Cave.
I'm sorry. I keep forgetting you and Beth have the same voices, and you always. Ah!
Slightly deeper than Beth's three.
In my headset, you sound the same. You both have a very lovely voice. Just say there. But fuck's sake! All right. After Iris relinking with Volus, after him running into Clyde and Volus on their way to save a local bakery. English is hard today. We pick up as Volus is flying back to the ship. Volus will say you were able to make it there just as your spell is ending for flight, because you've been doing this for quite some time. It does take time to fly around the city.
Yeah, I was thinking just that since the first time it got uh
Spelled.
de-summoned because of the anti-magic thing, I
Hmm.
had to use the rest of my sorcery points to remake another spell for flight.
Yes. But nonetheless, that is where we will pick up for today. As our party is residing along the ship trying to get it ready to set sail, as you see the incoming form of Volus sailing through the air once more.
Hmm. Rowan, do you want to go first?
Very quiet party today. Do I have to narrate everything?
I'm sorry, like I am kind of half here because I was working my ass off today, so I didn't really. Okay.
All right, we have one person who has a headache. We have another person who's dying. Any other problems I need know of before I possibly have to say, all right, we'll call it just after 5 minutes because you guys are kind of like I'm not gonna
Okay,
shove you guys through something.
Rowan is muted for a bit, so he's having to.
No, I understand that. I saw his messages. I'm just letting you guys know. It's like if you guys aren't feeling up to it, we don't have to do a session today.
Hmm.
Even though we kind of did just kind of kick it off for Behemoth over here.
It's fine.
So, because I had other things to do at the very end of the session yesterday, last week. Whereabouts would Zoram be? Because I'm not too much.
Zorm is still with the crew.
Okay.
He is still with everybody else on the crew.
Okay. So he's just gonna he's probably gonna just keep an eye out, making sure like if anyone of his party is trying to get back onto the ship, then they'll try and at least point them out.
Well, as you're going through this, you find yourself just residing along the aft side of the ship, just kind of lounging around. You don't know what you're doing on a ship, nor do you have any skill with it, so you just find yourself like attempting to help. Ryoka and Ira, actually no, Iris isn't there, but Ryoka is currently doing the most of the ship, getting it ready to sail, setting things, tying the ropes down, and getting pretty much the helm ready to go.
I don't know what's going on, but I am contributing.
Yep. We then have Niram, who is currently sitting below, hiding within the kitchen with the door locked, at a bit of a panic mode.
Yeah, he's having a bit of a panic attack at the moment, so
Poor
he's
thing.
he's probably going to be there for another good 20 minutes at least. Of course, if anyone needs him, he's going to try his best to help out.
Big buff dude, what do we do? Panic.
Yep. I mean, he did go completely against his morals and then totally fucked up as well.
Wait,
As
what
if the
do you mean
universe
that
tried
went
to
against
show
his
him that
morals?
he was wrong.
He went against his morals. He did
How?
half of what he wanted to do, and then the universe said, "No, fuck you."
Well, yeah. Close enough, though.
And then ran away with about what 3 days worth of rations for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, he stole.
Yes, he did steal
And now he has an existential crisis.
because he was forced to. He was told go steal food, and he did.
Shame.
Shame. Yeah, it just Zorm's just keeping an eye out. I don't know what else he would be doing because it'd be a little bit difficult for him to do anything else.
Right. So, as the Ryok is getting the ship ready to sail Volus, this is when you enter in and you kind of land yourself onto the deck with a little bit of ease. You still yet to master the art of flying, but you managed to do it somewhat gracefully.
Nice. And he kind of looks around, just like, do we have everyone here? That's the first thing.
You see Ryoka, you see Zoram, and that's almost it, actually. You looking around, you don't really see anybody else here, which is weird as you kind of like look around a little bit more, like frantically, just like, where's everybody else? Because you already chased two of them off as they were heading to a bakery.
Yeah, he knows where those two are going, but like for the rest. I guess Bullis would do at least the most sensible thing and look around the ship if they're here or not.
Well, Miriam is downstairs. But that's all who I've seen that isn't it up here.
So does he notice anyone in the ship itself? Since I know their ship isn't that big.
There's. Yeah, searching around the ship, there's nobody else.
He thought those two were at least gonna get by to the ship. He scratches the back of his head because he remembers two of the people wanting to go to the ship before he flew away to go try to get the bards. So he just like scratches his head a bit, very confused as to where they are. Guess he just waits on the top of the ship, trying to get it ready as the best of his abilities to go for when
Right,
they
for the sake of this, I'll say go ahead and make me a survival check.
got you. Survival. Survival. Where is it? That's stealth. 17.
So, you actually have a pretty decent understanding of what you're doing. You being the well-educated person you aren't exactly fluent in what you're doing, however you do understand direction. So, as Ryoka explains something to you and you understand what she says,
Watch
you
closely.
go get the task complete. You tell her how you did it, and she says yes or no, and you either complete it or you go back and redo it. It's a very catch and release sort of thing that happens.
Right.
In the course of the next about 30, 40 minutes, things are going along. You reside through the day, and you still have the nagging sensation about Lord Brokenridge having asked you to see him after some employment reasons.
Mm.
However, you do remember that the party is trying to get out. You guys don't necessarily want to stay here, but perhaps employment might change that.
Would it be possible for that time he was able to like rest to regain some sorcery points back at least? I know he won't have a full on long rest, but like in around the short rest, an hour's time, just so he can regain himself. Since when after that whole fight and stuff, he's still on 1 HP.
Sure, I'll allow it.
I
Even though you're currently working and doing things, you aren't really resting. I'll allow it.
All right, thank you.
Be grateful.
I am. All right, that means
I am a merciful God.
I am
Alright.
a god, you daughter creature.
All right. So, I guess once everything was ready, I guess he would go.
Everything gets ready. All you're missing is a navigator, a captain, and a helmsman.
Yeah.
What about the bucketeer?
Oh God. I
You're gonna
guess
say, you'll be the helmsman.
I'll be everything at once. No, I'm kidding.
You know, everyone's laughing until the day the ship starts taking in water and I don't share my buckets.
Oh no!
Nah, my whole reason for going onto the boat was to steal your damn buckets.
Nice.
You're not touching my bucket.
This is what happens when you go to
We could just melt them down into actual usable materials. Anyways, shoot, yeah, I don't know about this deal or any employment options, so I wouldn't really know anything.
I guess
I don't know what Ryoka would do.
Ryoka at the moment wants to leave. She wants to get out. I mean, you guys have the ship, and she's willing to go, but even she would know that you guys don't have what you need that's necessary to take off. What are you guys planning on doing?
Well, like, has Zorn been told, or? Because, yeah.
Volus, who all have you told about this?
how my mind drew a slight blank about the what transpired in the on the garden. You mean?
Well, both that and the employment situation.
I guess since the first person you saw was Iris, you would probably told them that first. And
Iris isn't there. Iris is still over by the keep.
Oh, I thought you
She's
said
still
I
up at the-
saw. I thought you.
Yeah, you did. You flew over. She told you what was going on, and you decided to fly back.
Alright, I guess. Well, since he doesn't know where the first two are, being Grape and Nair. No, wait, Nair went to the bakery.
No, Narum is on the
Nairum's down
ship.
below deck.
Narum-
Zorn has
Nurum
said-
is below deck having a
I
panic
asked-
attack.
Oh,
Zorn has made it clear that he saw Narum go down below. So on the ship, it is Ryoka, Narum, and
Ryo-
Zorn. And
okay. Then I guess we sell this to Theron and Zoram and Narum. There we go. You would have probably told them.
You
At
wouldn't
least
have
of
told the person who's piloting the boat.
Well, it's not like I can right now. They're not here.
But like in terms of roleplay, like
In terms of roleplay, yes, he would have told everyone there. But since they're not here right now, I can only tell it really to you two.
Mm-hmm. I guess Zorn would make it a point to like try and, because they kind of went here because went along because they didn't want to get left behind. So I'm thinking that they would probably try and convince Ryoka to work and go back.
Convincing her wouldn't be all too hard. I mean, she knows you guys cannot sail. I mean, you can, but you wouldn't get very far.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you have the ship. Sure, you have the documentation and everything else.
But
But
we don't have the crew.
Yeah, we don't have the crew. Technically, this is me speaking as Ryoka, but I'm just saying, it's like, that is what she would be saying. We don't have the crew. I can't sail this by myself, and I can tell you what to do, yeah, but I can't navigate. I can lift, and I can make sure things are done, but I can't do that. I can't do everything at once. Sorry.
So I think so I guess if that is the case, then we're probably going to end up turning around then and trying to at least try and find a way to get back.
Yeah, and at that point,
You guys
we might
haven't
as well.
even left the dock.
Oh, I thought.
No!
No, we
You guys are
can't.
getting the ship ready. You guys are still in dock.
We legit just like we went on the ship, got it ready, and then figured out. Oh wait, no, we can't even leave.
So okay,
How about this? I go and fly myself over to Little Broken Ledge and see what this job offer is. Shouldn't
That
be.
would probably be a good idea, and we'll try and keep the ship ready
Hmm.
in case we need to, get out of here.
And what about the rest of our party members?
Well, that's the thing. If they can get back here in time.
Well, I know two of them went off to go see if a bakery was safe, so it's not like we don't know where those two buds are.
Well, I might as well go over and try and at least get them to the castle.
I have tried. They are, for some reason, so fixated on that bakery. But you know what? I wish you luck. And as
Thanks,
much as
I'll need it.
as much as I guess he wanted to play, at first he wanted to at least walk over there, just because he was still like exhausted.
I mean, if you want to walk over there, you can. If you want to fly, you can. I mean, it's totally up to you. You are your character. If you want to do something, you can.
Yeah, I think he'll just walk back to find Lord Brokenridge.
Yeah, and
To
Naren would
Okay.
basically ask that they wait there so that once he's collected the two other party members, they can meet up at the castle.
very well, very well. Just be quick. That bakery is on the other side of this damn place.
Well,
Nero immediately regretting it.
Do you need me to stay with you, just in case?
I, I mean, if you want to come along, feel free to.
I'm pretty sure two Dragonborns have enough intimidation power to get the two bards to move.
I wouldn't be so sure. That Rowan is a thick-headed one.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, you knock him out and just drag him. It's really
Fair enough.
one track in mind with that
Bag
one.
'em and drag 'em.
All right, and
Bucket and drag 'em.
oh no! But yeah, Nera would be on his merry way with Zoram and
Good
Toa,
old
I
bag
guess,
and drag, huh?
trying to find the bakery again.
If I need to use an acid attack to bucket and drag 'em, I will.
If I need to rage to get them back, I shall.
So, I'll say for the sake of this, make me an investigation check at advantage because you have been there before, but the streets are ruined. So getting there is going to be a bit difficult.
All right. Let me get a second die.
One of us or both of us?
Whoever's going to try and find the other bards.
I will.
All right, both of you, go ahead, do it.
Let's see. Yeah, and Nerem is totally useless. That's a 5 with advantage. Sorry, 4. It's a 5, like natural 5, but -1.
Well, bit of a conundrum.
Who would have thought
Sorry,
that
I'm having
the
a little
negative
bit of
intelligence character is
technical
bad at
issues. I had to
investigation?
switch over to my tab with it, and it's being dumb. Because I'm trying to remember the modifier. But
Should
the
be in
normal roll
modifier
was a
plus
15.
3.
The base roll is a 15. I'm just trying to figure out the modifier.
A 15 would be able to do it. It's not terribly difficult. You just have to navigate your way through the streets, like finding different crossways. The most direct path there has been destroyed. Most of the streets are torn up or even blocked by rubble of buildings that have collapsed and fallen over. And as you walk through the streets, you see there are guards that are currently still dousing fires. People are being tended to. You do see familiar or unfamiliar robes. You haven't seen these before. Volus has, but you haven't. Of what seem to be red and orange. These cowls that kind of cloak the entirety of the face. But you see both masculine and feminine figures going through, and they seem to be using some sort of a magic. They're going through healing people, or at least giving them their final rites as the bodies are being brought out into the street as well.
By the way, it would have ended up as a dirty 20.
Okay, good to know. So you manage to meander your way about and find this bakery across the town. You see portions of it are charred and burned. However, it mostly still stands. From the inside, you hear the sound of clattering pans and what sounds like wood being used and very forcefully thrown about.
Do we see the
As
bards
you,
in question?
as you enter into the establishment, you see that Clyde is busy trying to make sure things are set out and fixed. Rowan is currently in the middle of trying to find any pastries that are still good.
No, I'm trying to like find a baker.
Oh, okay. Make me.
Yeah,
Let's
they
say
both
make
would
me.
actually be
Yeah,
trying
we
to
went
find
for the
a
baker.
Okay. I didn't know if you guys wanted me to say anything else, but
Yeah, we're just waiting. If you like wanted to pan back to us or play, let whatever was going on play out.
Mhm.
well, they meet you. They find you residing within the baker's shop. The baker does not seem to be there. The half-elven woman that you remember to be the baker does not seem to be in her shop nor anywhere in the partial rubble that kind of fills the outside or inside of the shop.
Is there any other bakery workers in there? Anyone else working
No,
there?
remember, it's just her.
Could we check in the back?
You may.
I would like to do so, please.
Open the small pantry to the back, and doing so, you get the fine aroma of yet to be baked flour, mixture of parsleys, butters, um, a hint of cinnamon that kind of flows through the air, and other such dried and other kind of mixtures of fruits, blueberries, raspberries, even hints of strawberry that you detect. But nobody's in there.
Where could she be? Clyde, any clues?
He'd look around the bakery trying to see if there was anything about.
Make an investigation check.
Do 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 do.
Can I assist Clyde on that investigation check since I'm also looking for her?
Sure, for the sake of this, yes.
Also, what level are we supposed to be? 4, right?
5.
We are level 5, I believe.
I need to level up Clyde's sheet again then later.
Hold on, for some reason I literally cannot hear Hope.
I said I need to level up Clyde's sheet then later, because at the current moment he's a level 4.
I'll help you level it up if you need help.
Yeah, I probably will, knowing me. Give me 1 second. For whatever reasons, my sheet is still deciding to load. You said investigation, right?
Yes, and you're doing so at advantage.
That would be a 15.
Mm.
First roll was a 10, but if it's at advantage, 15.
What you can see is that most hints that this bakery was like used or even inhabited, it's pretty like obvious it was.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're looking about, you see that the implements of the small gold chest or even the payment chest seems to have been emptied. Things look to have been tossed around in a hurry, like someone was looking for something, found it, and then quickly filled it and left.
Goddamn looters.
Alright. Anything else?
Alright, Clyde, we're just gonna check the outsides. Maybe we have any hints, any clues, anything we can find.
Meanwhile, like Narum and Zorm are kind of like watching, letting them do their thing.
Yeah, just standing outside, like waiting for them to finish their little adventure.
Hmm.
As you step outside, you almost immediately run into Niram, Rowan, and Clyde.
Ah, hello there.
Had your fun?
He's missing.
Well, then you're done here, aren't you?
No, we're not done until we find her.
And immediately a slug to the face.
Make an attack roll.
That's an 20. No, not 23. That's 21.
All right. Since you do not have the brawler feat
That
that I'm
hits.
aware of, Rowan, suddenly as you're talking, you're like, "We're not done until we find whack," and you suddenly feel yourself kind of spin around slightly
We're
and
not done until we find
fall to the ground.
Clyde's gonna be like, what the hell was that for, dude? Like, come on.
You two absolute idiots are just running around a burning city. And why? Oh, we want to find the baker. We want to have fun here.
It's not it's not that we're trying to have fun, it's that we're worried about her. That's literally it.
Well, that's great and all, but you're not worried about the other people that you've been traveling with for what, the past couple of months?
Well, I personally was here to make sure that
Excuse me,
Clyde
you
didn't
mean those
die.
people that have just punched me several times?
Hey,
Oh.
just a heads up, like just cutting out character. Rowan, I think you're echoing.
Echoing very slightly, but it's all right.
Yeah, I just wanted to let him know.
The problem is I can't really hear people properly on Discord. It just keeps cutting out for me. So I have the
Yep.
stream open in another tab.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just
Ah.
letting you know.
Yeah.
I understand.
Else
But again,
I can
as I said, it's a
just,
very minor echo.
mute
You don't need to
myself
worry
on
about
the
it.
call and type in chat, because else I can't hear Hope at all through Discord, just on the stream.
You know what? Alright, hold on. Let me
Discord, ladies and gentlemen, Discord. Welcome to the fine implements of online D&D.
Such great
Is that
software.
better?
Welcome, comrade.
I raised my input volume a little bit.
Okay.
You're actually a little bit louder.
Yeah, because I raised my input volume.
I'm just letting you know you're a little bit louder.
Mm.
All right.
To the last
Moving on
segment.
back to in character.
Yeah. Yes, I am punching you. Do you understand why? Do you even get what you're on about?
Backs up a little bit.
You're running around all willy-nilly, not giving a single flying fuck in this world that was, up until a few minutes ago, literally burning down around you. We were trying to get to safety, and what are you doing? Oh no, I will disregard all safety and leave you to die because we can't sail without everyone in the crew, just to find some weird baker person that I've grown to appreciate because I have a sweet tooth. Very mature of you.
I would agree, it is very mature of him.
You know what?
Listen, we're gonna have to listen. Like both, and Zorm's gonna kind of cut in between the two of them. Actually, technically, the three of them, and kind of go. It's not the time to be fighting. This isn't all right. Just stop. Arguing is what is going to get most, if not all, parties killed. You don't need to be incredibly smart. You don't need to be incredibly mature. You don't need to be incredibly. You don't need to be really incredibly anything to understand. So let's just drop it for now. We can discuss this another time. But right now, we're going to be going back towards Lord Brokenridge to be discussing particular deals.
Rowan states, and no need to be incredibly hostile towards me, and punching and grabbing or tackling me every 2 hours. Ladies and gentlemen of the stream, we apologize. Currently, both people who are talking have had to move to a typing as both of their microphones have been taken up by background noise. We do apologize for this. We normally have much better, shall we say, microphone ability. However, at the moment, sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, especially right now, there's just a lot of issues, be it tech related or internet connection related or otherwise uh, that really stop people from talking. Not the best for this kind of format, but I suppose
make it work.
Yeah, I suppose we'll make it work.
We always do.
But yeah, Zoran responded to that exclamation from Rowan by, "Did I punch you? I didn't, but right now arguing is the least smart thing to do." And Rowan directed his speech towards Nerem, so Nerem shall respond as follows. If once in your, honestly, I don't even know how many years of life, you would have shown responsibility at any point and not just the most selfishness and narcissism that I've ever seen in a person, I don't think I would need to punch you or grab you or tackle you. But apparently, you're not able to, once in your life, take up the responsibility for your actions or other people's actions that you're affiliated with, or show the least bit of altruism. Yeah, you could have pinned it all on me in the jail cell. And yes, I do admit, maybe your actions have swayed the judge towards releasing us. But, you know what? I would have been fine sitting in that cell. Because I would have known that it would have been the right thing at least. It seems to me that you just aren't content with anything. You need to work on that.
Zoram goes to say and speak something. He kind of puts his hand up and looks like he's thinking about what he's trying to say and just not to offend anybody. But she is Rowan. He's on the edge of saying something, either something he might regret or something he really wants to say. However, it's quite unsure as both of them seem to be trying to think of anything that they want to say at the moment. Trying to find the proper words to express just what exactly is going through their mind.
Also, I want to apologize. I'm currently brain dead at the moment from how hot it is right now.
No, believe you me, you're not the only one.
Oh, you're German. You're used to the heat and the
No,
cold.
quite the
Ha, ha,
opposite.
ha, ha.
I'm exactly not used to the heat.
I was making a joke.
I know.
But-
I know.
Okay. I'm sorry. It was a bad joke. All right. So Zoran puts his hands up. It seems he's finally found what he wishes to say, and just kind of puts his hands between both Nurum and gently touching Rowan. Let's stop this. We have to sort this out, and it's not okay to be arguing at the moment, especially with what's happened, what we have been through for the past few hours. You see Rowan just kind of press against the hand of Zoram as he kind of presses forward. I am not content with being an outlet to your anger issues. You overgrown lizard with temper problems and apparently a willingness to kill your own party members. Ah, how about that?
You know what? Fine. Do as you please. For all I care, you might as well die out here in these streets, getting slain by one of those big frickin' fire lizards. Or, I don't know, maybe you'll just drown after being thrown out after trying one of your schemes. I don't care anymore. Zoram, I'll return to the ship. If you want to, deal with these two, but know this. I will not help you if it's in regard to Rowan. And he just leaves.
So, Rowan, Zoram, you see his final conversation, the last outburst, finally manages to stop. And Niram, making his declaration, takes his stance and starts to turn to leave. You watch him very solemnly walk down the street. And you see as he passes by, you see there looks to be maybe half a dozen or so people going through the street. Some of them are guards, others are not. You see one of them is currently holding a cart that is laden with wounded people, and you see they're currently dragging their way through. The cart is helmed by what looks to be the same individual wearing a bright auburn orange cloak that cowls over their face, with a red overcloak that just seems to have some sort of fashion to it that looks to be some sort of either magician's robes or even some sort of minor practitioner. Turning towards Rowan, just with a bit of disbelief, kind of shakes his head, sighs, goes over and Rowan, what languages do you speak? Let's see. No, he would not understand what you're saying. As Zoram, you
Clyde
create
understand it?
what?
Would Clyde understand it? But then again, Clyde doesn't understand
What languages
Draconic.
do you know?
Common, Elvish, and half elf.
Yeah, no, this language is unknown to you. It
Mhm.
sounds very almost like a serpent speak. Not necessarily like parcel tongue, but think of it almost as like you're speaking Spanish with a lisp.
Mhm.
And as Theron, or as Zorm speaks this and kind of brings his hand up and pinches the bridge of his nose, and you see as Rowan just shrugs his shoulders and looks over towards you, Zorm. As much as he likes to bitch about it when it comes to cause issues, I don't brag to it to others. I'm just a blood-covered cultist slaughterer. The first part starts off a bit more of a conversational or outburst tone. Second part kind of goes into a mumble. He's not looking at Niram as he says this, but just kind of it seems he just chose those words as he was looking towards you, Zorn. As silence reigns over the street, you see yet another one of the carts covered with those wounded people are currently being trailed across. You see these carts are actually being taken towards the Tower of Soon. But as this conversation seems to spark back together as you find the right words, you look over. That might be, but it's not okay. His arguing and insults is what kills whole parties and or companies of people. What you might think is true is not necessarily what's there. Rowan seems to be at odds with what he wants to say, but then he seems to be just growing more content with the way that he has his set sight. And he looks down and just kind of kicks his foot, looks back at you. Looks like he's still thinking of something to say. And goes, yes, it does kill whole people and parties and companies. But cleaving and punching them is a quicker way to kill them too. Baron or Zorm, as you start blinking through, just continuing to follow his words, and just the argument he's putting up is rather petty, but you know it to be true. And what grieves you is that he continues to do this until you finally just kind of pinch your bridge of your nose again and look over. Look, Rowan, I'm not here to argue semantics. I'm here because we need to get you, because we are going to the Lord's Tower. We have business here. We've been summoned. Perhaps you might not want to work with him. Perhaps you don't want to work with anyone else yet. But at least answer our Lord's summons. Can we get that, at least? Rowan, you kind of put your hands to your hips and lean back, shifting the weight to your back foot, and just look over at Zorm, kind of shake your head. And thoughts kind of racing through your mind as you kind of look back and see this dragonborn before you. Your face still hurting from where Nero had punched you, but in pain, just a reminder of your argument being correct. As you try to find any words that seem to connect anything to even saying no. You're not sure. But your argument seems stifled at the moment. You're not sure what to say against it. Until eventually, no. I came here to find the baker. Get her out of this city of smoldering rock. For once, I'm actually trying to do something for anyone else. So why don't you actually let me do it? There might be a Lord's summons out for me, yes. But I'm finally doing something good. Let me do it. Please. The please goes unspoken, but you see it kind of in his face. Like the anger is still there as he just looks at you. Just, he seems set on this. It does not seem that you have any way to sway him from his course. Your argument falls on deaf ears once more. You can see his argument is there. You feel almost conscious that he's trying to actually do the right thing, but seems again lost on you. You're just trying to get things reprimanded. You're trying to get things fixed, but you're not sure how to pull back from this. So you finally kind of sit back on your foot, just look at him, and just your shoulders shrug down and almost a defeat. Fine, I will not stop you. If you're going to talk about coming back, you'll need to not just convince me to help you back. Uh, in a language you possibly don't understand, Rowan, you hear him say something. And you're familiar with it. You've heard it spoken enough to know that it's draconic. However, you're not sure. He says something, but you're unsure if it's going to be some sort of a curse or something. But there doesn't seem to be anything of malice behind it. Until you finally turn your back and continue searching through the bakery. And Zoram starts to walk off as he just waves his hand at you. And just as you start walking off, another cart passes by you. It's actually coming down this road. And you see is along this avenue there are, from the destroyed buildings, there look to be about maybe 8 or 9 people, mixture of men and women, who are currently dragging out either wounded people or corpses. You see one family holds a child that's maybe about 7 years old. They look okay, but slightly covered in blood and ash. The others seem to be carrying about 4 or 5 corpses with them. If you want, you can walk over, but they currently lay the child on the cart that's being pushed by. Right. So, as you head over to go check out this child, go ahead and make me a medicine check, because the cart's still moving and it's being held by the guards and one of the what seems to be one of the arcanists of the city. You're not sure of what school, and you're not sure who they are, but you do know that they're there. And you are somewhat familiar with them. All right. So, as you look over the child, you know, surprisingly, you have a keener eye to a human's anatomy than you would to any other creatures. And as you look over, body doesn't seem to have taken any major damage. You do see that looks to be maybe a sprained ankle and possibly a broken hand. Looks like possibly something fell on the child and whatever it was caused either them or someone on top of them to bleed. But other than that, the child seems fine. It looks like they might be able to recover with a little bit of rest, some healing, and just some time off.
Okay, finally I can now talk because the people are no longer yelling in the background.
Good to have you back.
So they're gonna kind of walk over and try and use a cure wounds on the child.
As you walk over and try and extend your
So-
hand, the mage kind of puts in. Oh, there. Might I ask what you're doing?
Just saw that they were had a sprained ankle. At least was gonna try and help them be able to walk at least.
He nods slightly and just kind of keeps his hand up. Well, the wound will be dealt with. Trust me, please. We are doing what we can, but we have very little time to check if anyone is wounded or even dying in the city. We're trying to keep the carts moving, and while it's not the best way of transportation, it is what we have. We have arcanists through the city attempting to do the same thing you are. However, we're doing our best.
Very well. I'll keep an eye out and
The
see if I
arcanist
can
gives you a
find.
nod.
And Zom's gonna kind of walk towards the where they
The
were
palace.
being summoned, and just kind of keep an eye out if they see anyone.
All right. Keeping an eye out. Make me a perception check. See if you see anything that looks suspicious, anything that looks out of place, or even anything that looks familiar.
Perception +5. So that is 18.
18. Nothing exceptionally familiar. You do see that out of some of the buildings there are still gnoll corpses. You see that just about maybe a dozen of them kind of litter the street as you're making your way back to the high tops. And you see some of them look to have been either killed as they were jumping out of a building that was burning.
Okay. Well, he's gonna just keep an eye out while he's walking, just seeing if he finds any bodies that of like people who are still alive and things like that.
Do more of an investigation check, and it'd take you much longer to go through, like, to do that.
Yeah,
So with your just
it's more just
perception, you're just
it's
kind of
sorry.
go for it.
I was just saying like it's just him walking, and if he just kind of catches anything that like it's a body, and if it's alive, then he'll move it to a more visible location kind of idea.
Got it. But Clyde, as you and Rowan are currently searching for the baker, what would you like to do? Because it's obvious she is not at the bakery.
Well, while they're searching, I guess he would while they were searching, he'd probably like go off and try and help people to the best of his abilities, like help them get people up onto the carts, like help, I guess, assess any wounds if possible. Help collect the dead as well if he saw that someone was struggling with it.
Okay. I'll have you go ahead and make an investigation check with advantage as Rowan is helping you.
Mm-hmm. So that's just a straight D20 because I
Mhm.
have no pluses. They were both a 13. So
13.
13.
All right. So, as you search your way through the city, just trying to find anything, you asking questions to the guard. Uh, the few guard that you run across that aren't inherently busy, they have no answers for you.
The other what?
They have. You run up to guards and they have no answers for you.
All right, that's fair.
Sorry, did my mic go grainy for a second, or were you just not able to hear me?
A bit of both. It's really hot at the current moment. So like my brain is slightly deep fried, if that makes any sense.
A fan. God. Please, I don't mean that. Anything against you. Just, it was a bad joke.
Mm.
No, nonetheless. Picking up Niram as you make your way back, are you heading to the high tops or are you going back to the ship?
He's heading to the high tops.
Got it. All right. So, that would be leaving Ryoka and Volus to the ship. However, Ryoka heading back up to the high tops would be unsure exactly just what uh, holds and tails for her or you guys, but she heads there nonetheless. Eventually, with the walks, Niram, you do coincide with Volus and Ryoka as they both kind of run into you at the gate. You start grudgingly heading your way up towards the castle top. You're still, the feeling about what happened with Rowan grovels at you, just makes you just shake your head and grumble. You guys get back together and you start heading out. As you get over there, the personal retainers of the Broken Ridge Guard see you approaching. They do recognize you and they do keep the gate open for you and allow you through. Iris actually meets you guys after waiting. You see she's currently sitting on the front steps of the opening to the castle leading in. And she steps up. It's like, oh, it's good to see you guys again. I hope nothing bad happened. Where's Clyde and where's Rowan?
Might as well be dead. He just walks past her.
She looks towards Clyde, or she actually looks over towards Ryoka, and she looks at you, Volus. Like, and she shrugs and gives you like a okay, what happened look. Ryoka just shrugs. I was at the ship. I can't tell you anything. Sorry. I have nothing I can tell you. Volus, you just kind of give her the same thing. You just shrug. You have no idea what happened. Eventually, Zoram, finding your way back up after seeing the ship was empty, you walk over, and the guards to the high tops let you in. They don't seem to put up any resistance. They're kind of familiar with you. Besides, anybody going anywhere through the city might as well just go through it. Most of the city's destroyed anyway. As you head up through, the retainers of Broken Ridge Guard also recognize you. They let you through. You pass by and you see Iris, who is currently walking through the garden. She's kind of kicking a stone by as she looks over and sees you, and she actually looks excited for a second and hopeful and walks over. Do you have anything to tell me? What happened to Rowan and Clyde? I got very little from Niram, and I got even less from Ryok and Volus. What can you tell me?
They have gone to deal with a personal issue at the moment.
He gives a slight nod. Or just kind of notioning you inside. It's like, I think we should head inside now. I mean, if they're not coming out. Heading inside, you all see the familiar, or once familiar, ballroom halls seem to be stretched out with a very fine marble floor, with columns leading up made of a fine granite. The red wooden walls with the hints of spruce that seeps through, with the high decorations of what look to be statues designed of a rabbit-eared woman and a rather rammed-horned tiefling. You see the other statues along the room that seem to be less predominant, seem to be more of guards wearing armor or heroes of legend. Some of them you're familiar with, others you're not. What was once an open ballroom full of tables of feasting food and other happy guests and jovial music is now full of the moaning and groaning of wounded men and women. As you see, most of the tables here have been turned into almost a surgery-like table, or even mostly a wounded holding space. You see what looks to be 3 doctors or even medicaes or certain whitish robes that they wear look to be going over. They wear these heavy leather aprons over their front. Some of them are stained or even covered with a fresh coat of blood. And they are currently working on some of the guards, stopping the bleeding or even doing other things, while a cleric, what seems to be from a distant holy order none of you are very familiar with, are currently working their way through and healing what wounds they can to assist these manual doctors. As you walk by, you see a rather ingrained Lady Brokenridge. You see that the normal, graceful attitude she carries is almost broken. You see the face is worn and almost hollow with what happened and all of the sights she's seen tonight. The white hair that she wears, once tied up in a very tight bun that just kind of drooped down from the end of it in a very fine display of creation, is now just spun apart, and you see is frazzled beyond repair. The 2 long white rabbit ears that she has seem to be drooped with their uncanny, just the lack of being that they have now. Once predominant and a high functioning feature, now lost. She gets a faint spark of hope. You see kind of rekindle a little bit in her eyes as she looks at you. Oh, it's so good to see you again. All of you, truly. Perhaps, I believe you're here for my husband, yes. As he did have his request for you. And she looks out at all of you, and then she looks at Iris kind of expectantly, like having you possibly told them she wasn't sure. How much are you aware of, or of the city at least? What news bring you from the outside?
I'm able to give some insight. And well, it says as he just places his hands in his pockets, kind of glancing more over the fact that they've been walking past a lot of wounded folk. Seems like whoever had started this, it was some drow woman, one that was capable of stopping magic, in a sense, and a bunch of gnolls as well. Yeah,
You see the head kind of tilt slightly in confusion. Drow? No? Working together? But what could have forced these 2 evil things together? They don't interact ever, naturally nor otherwise. Gnolls are too uncivilized for the drow, and the drow are too cultured for the gnoll. But what could have driven them to this? Do you have any idea?
if, well, I only have a few theories of such. Only two that really warrant any speaking of. Either one, there are some way to control the gnolls. As when I was in the streets, I saw that the gnolls were acting differently. They were putting bodies into carts and dragging them away. So it could have been either some type of possession of them. Either that or the more unlikely one. They somehow managed to gain a form of sentience to be more civilized. But the first one at least makes more sense by at least my comparison.
It is
But
scary at best to even think of. The former I could possibly comprehend, but that too frightens me.
yes, it's weird. As I was looking for some of my companions, I had the pleasure to see at least one of the two people at he kind of snaps his finger a bit. The temple, they were fighting one of the monks, and it seems like I was able to disrupt it even for a moment by crashing into the garden, since my magic seemed to disappear for a moment.
Temple? Are you referring to the Temple of Soon? Is it all right?
Um, more or less, it hasn't collapsed, but looked like it was almost on the verge to.
You
When
see
I
your
saw the
hand move up and just kind of like clasp a small holy symbol that's just kind of like hidden inside of her small blouse that she wears. And then she removes it and looks back at you. It's a pity to hear.
but it seems like the monk and what seemed to be a. I'm trying to remember both their names, the monk and the wizard. So
Abjurist Noja, not
Abjurid.
Noja, but it was Abjurist. I was thinking about somebody else at the moment, but that would be Abjurist. What's his name? I have it written here. God damn it. How come notes are never actually there when you need them? That would be Abjurist Barrow. It was Abjurist Barrow and Mistress Colleen.
Mistress. What was that last word? Colleen?
Colleen, yes. Kollein. Colleen.
Yes, it was Mistress Colleen and Abdurrahman is who I managed to encounter after it seemed the drow and some tall figure. I couldn't even tell if it was some metal being had fled. That's usually when most of the folk have retreated. Most of the gnolls, per se.
You speak of them as wearing armor, but yet you saw their face. What do they
The
look like?
I didn't manage to see the tall one, but aside from the fact that uh the drow woman took off her helm, she pointed to me, and my mind was clouded by a vision of that face. Still as clear as day. uh, but they seem to be one of the culprits. If and he's trying to recollect, I can possibly draw out the image of her. But the mind is still fresh, but she was the one who had the ability to stop the magic, at least of my flight and of Mistress Colleen's spells.
If the drow are involved with this, I have no idea what we might have done to provoke their wrath. We have done nothing with the Underdark, nor anything to the mines. Even the dwarves of the city, the small encampment that they house here, the mines they run have not dug any deeper than perhaps maybe a few 100 feet. We've done nothing at all. I could not
If
reason what might have been going on.
if I may, has I
So
know
it's
this might sound a bit too confidential, but is there anything that Lord Brokenridge has? Maybe something of maybe power and artifact or something? It could have been their goal. At least this is what I at least thought of when I was talking to the Abjurs.
As you say something like that, she actually like very noticeably like kind of looks away from you. Just, um, no, nothing of that. You
Can I do
just
an insight check?
make an insight check, sure.
18.
And she's hiding something from you. She's
You
not
do not
hiding it very well.
you do not have to tell me what it is. I have honestly, no interest of what it does. But if this is but if this is correct, they were here for that. And by the judge of your face, it seems they've gotten it.
She would give a slight nod. I guess nothing helped from being hidden. Uh, yes, we had something of such. Mm, something not necessarily of this, shall we say, um, worldly power level. But, um, it would be better if my husband were to explain it to you.
Of course. Apologies for questioning such. It might have been better if it's in this position we'd not speak of any types of deceit. But aside from that, is Lord Brokenridge capable of speaking right now? It might be of importance, and from my guess, this could possibly relate to the uh, job request he had informed us about.
He nods slightly. Yes, he does have a request for you. We would pay you handsomely for it. Um, but it's once again best if he were to explain it to you.
Mind saying that again? You kind of cut out for the last second for me.
Yes. More of it is, what exactly is going on here is that she knows that you have, or she knows of what Lord Brokenridge wants to request of you, but it's better if he tells you because she doesn't know the full details of it.
Mm. Could you mind point us to Lord Brokenridge's direction then? It'd be a
Um,
great help.
you're, and she points to Iris. Uh, she'll be able to take you. She knows.
Very, very well. Thank you for at least chatting with us. He kind of does dip his head before adding to it, and in all my honesty, it is my condolences for such a thing to happen to the city.
You know, um, no, condolences are not what we need. At the moment, Port Ivy is weakened. Some of the other lords of the realm of Kumyar grow sharp fangs when blood is in the water. And she doesn't say much else, and she walks off. You see, she actually gets to um, a group of what look to be 4 individuals. Each of them wear exceptionally nondescript clothing. Like you couldn't pick them off of the street if you wanted to. They look like such average Joes. And she walks over, and 2 of them look female, the other 2 look male. And she says something to all of them. You see, as each one is told something different, you see as each one departs. And you see each one departs at a different time. Before Iris kind of looks at you, I think we should head off. Let's go check on Lord Brokenridge here. I'm not sure we should keep him waiting.
Agreed,
Zone's
Iris.
gonna
Let
nod.
us make haste.
She leads you back through the halls. You do notice a distinct lack of guards, mostly because they're probably out in the hall or dealing with things in the ballroom or even parts of the city. As you ascend the stairs upward and you take a sharp right, you immediately almost run into a servant, and the servant just stops and just stares at you. They don't say anything. It looks to be a female, but near him, you would notice this most prevalently. The smell of dog just immediately washes over you. This person doesn't smell like a human. They smell like a dog.
He would keep an eye on them. Not
Rest of you
like
passing. Yes.
obviously, but like yeah, while passing, he's gonna keep an
Okay.
eye on them.
The servant kind of like growls slightly at all of you. Very unusual. You kind of like sidestep away from them as they growl at you. But eventually, as you pass by, they kind of smell the air and seem to catch something that they understand, and they leave. You see as they walk off down the hall and take off down one of the hallways. As you are led back behind, Iris shows you guys what looks to be a library, very large library, roughly about a 30 by 45-foot room. And as she walks over to it, you see her walk back towards one of the rooms, and you all look kind of confused. You don't see Lord Brokenridge nor him waiting, not even at a desk or even wounded. But you see as Iris walks over and puts her finger on one very specific book and pulls on it. It doesn't slide out of the wall, you just hear what sounds like a clicking sound, as almost like a watch is being wound. And then it lets out a large clicking again, the singular clack, until it seems to lock in position, and you see as the slight outer casement just kind of pops out slightly. And Iris moves her hand and opens the door for you and kind of notions you up a singular set of spiraling stairs that lead up into a dark and cold stone. As you follow it up, Iris leading the way. The top of the stairs, it goes up for about 2 stories. You go over and you start lifting what looks to be a trapdoor, a very heavy trapdoor that opens up into this tower. And as you climb up into it with the help of a small ladder, you enter into a small cylindrical room. Looking around, it's no more than roughly about 15 feet across. And you see there are only about 3 or 4 things in it. You see that there is a large clawfoot tub full of water. You see a bookcase that is laden with books and trinkets. A small podium that looks to be empty. And the 4th thing looks to be a small chair that looks to be about the same size as Lady Brokenridge. As you look over, you don't see Lord Brokenridge in any obvious position until you look over and you see he seems to be laying in the tub, nude and face down. He's currently floating in the water.
This is normal, right?
You see Iris immediately just kind of like panics. And she goes over and she's like,
Narum just
do I?
walks over and feels for a pulse.
Slide your finger into the water, make me a medicine check.
Oh boy. Well, never mind. That's a 2.
None that you can feel. However, the body is ice cold. It's like touching dry ice.
Immediately lifts them out of the tub.
I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
All right.
You're pretty chill, huh?
That's a 23,
I
17
like
plus
how we
6.
don't even let like the lady finish speaking. We just do.
Right, as as you go over and start touching onto him, you take 16 points of cold damage as you grab onto the ice cold body of Lord Brokenridge, and you immediately feel your armor and scales just freeze over. And as you pick him up and drop him on the floor, just because you cannot do anything else, as you just, if you continue touching him, you will continue taking this paining damage. And as you drop him to the floor, you come back and like, and you see as even some of your flesh is starting to flake off or even crack in places, just from how cold it was.
And this would be obviously a magical effect, right?
Oh, very.
He was
But
me.
as you've pulled Lord Brokenridge out and see him kind of, you see he doesn't seem to be reacting to like being drowned or anything, but you just hear him groaning in pain. And as he's like
And
reeling on the floor, you see puts his hands out trying to push himself off on the floor, and he just falls back onto it.
Yeah. Narum would
In a
immediately.
voice that is much unlike his own. You hear,
Zorm
And he
is
falls
just
back onto the
turning
floor.
around. Zorm is turning around and kind of like, giving a little bit of respect.
Yeah, you turn around and give a little bit of respect as Lord Brokenridge is what looks to be trying to get back in the tub, as he is currently like putting his hand out, clawing at it. But he looks exceptionally weak. It's almost like he's gone through 3 levels of muscular dystrophy. He looks exceptionally thin and very weak.
Seeing that intent, I suppose Naren will try to help him without directly touching him. So, for
That's going to
example,
be
by
impossible.
no.
That's going to be impossible.
You do. The party would see that Narum has taken a significant brunt
Yes,
of cold damage.
Everybody would see. Just Nurum is very much pained.
Hold on, I need to check something. Do I have this spell? No, I don't have Mage Hand. I was gonna see if I could help with a little bit of Mage Hand, but no, it's not gonna work.
Narum looks
Irish
over
looked-
to Zoram and just asks him in Draconic, "Can you heal me for a bit? I need to get him back into the tub."
Zorm's gonna go over and use cure wounds on him.
Okay, go ahead. Use your cure wounds.
I think that is 2d4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get this straight. What? So Lord Brokenridge is in some type of. It's frozen.
No,
Essentially?
he's not
He-
frozen. The body touching his body is like touching dry ice.
Oh.
Yeah.
My bad.
But however, the water he was in, if you want, make me a perception check.
I.
This would have to be with this will be with scent. So this will be a smell.
21 with a 16 plus 5.
That is not actual water he's in. He's laying in what seems to be salt water. And it is heavily diluted. Like, it is probably, 70% salt. It is exceptionally saturated water.
This is a very. This is
You
even
get
almost
12
as
hit
salty
points
as
back.
pure seawater.
Okay, as soon as he gets those hit points back, he's going to attempt to lift Lord Brokenridge
Make me a
into the water
Constitution
again.
saving throw, sir.
So, oh jeez. That is a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. That is just enough to take half damage.
Oh, thank
You
God.
take another 16 points of cold damage.
Good. If I didn't succeed, I would have probably died. So, yeah. Now I'm taking another shock frosting, basically.
Yeah. You as soon as you as you're getting your hands close to him, you feel the cold. It's like putting your hands into a freezer. And as you touch him, you immediately feel the burning sensation in your hands as you pick him up and put him back into the tub. Your arms and your hands are immediately cracked over, and you see as you try and flex your fingers, the ice that's formed around them, and you try and heat them up. And Iris just kind of looks at you and she actually takes out one of her small candlesticks and she actually lights it with a small flint and steel. She walks over and she actually holds the candle between your hands, trying to warm you up.
Thanks, but I think this will be fine. Whatever this isn't normal. This is some kind of weird magic-y thing. The only thing I can tell you is that if you touch him, you freeze. Your limbs, your blood, your bones even.
And as you are actually speaking, you are seeing that Lord Brokenridge's body, the small, almost minuscule man that he was, that when you pulled him out of the tub, is actually starting to grow. You see the muscles are starting to return to his body. You see the vibrant red to his skin is returning. And you see that the just sheer power of this individual, you see the strength that he once held starts returning. And as he eventually, you see his body slightly stirs after about 5 minutes. And you see as he rolls over in the tub, And he puts his back against the cold, kind of granite that this clawfoot tub is made out of. And he, through kind of blinking eyes, he looks at all of you. Tell me, who pulled me out?
It was me, my lord, and I apologize profusely.
He takes his hand and just kind of almost like you know how slow somebody gets when they're exhausted, and you see how somebody, and he's just like slowly waving at you. It's like, your apologies fall for no reason. He leans back into the water, slides into it until just about only his neck and head are exposed. I would recommend not doing that again. I apologize for any pain you might have been caused, or anything I might have done or said.
Don't even worry about it, my lord.
The rest of you, it is good to see you again. How goes my city? What have you found?
A lot of things that we should talk to you about, but all in all, I believe we are aware that something of yours has been stolen.
He nods slightly, but that is, that is not of importance at the moment.
And I shall explain to you what has happened since you were. He kind of looks at the saltwater mine. I guess puts on ice for a little. He says with a very perplexed look. What we found out was, seems
He
the ones who. Oh,
puts his hand up for a second, kind of like puts his finger to silence you. I do not mean to stop you, but my request for you is you have returned to me. My question for you, or at least my task. We have a code, at least we did, an alliance with a nearby clerical order, an order of the Clayish Rose. They're to our south, and they are to come in times of need for us, as we have done for them. And they have not come. I would like you to find out why. And if they are there, send them to us. If they are dead, tell us. But rather than that, please, find out why my city is in pain and why more are dying because they cannot be tended to.
as you wish, Lord Broken Ledge.
Um,
We will pay you whatever you wish. Gold, gems, weapons. It is yours. Just please find out why my people are being harmed and try to stop it. I will find out more myself when I am finally returned to my strength. Besides, I have been mostly dead all day. Does
is
not do well for the body.
it rude of me to ask what it is that ails you?
Yeah, it is better that you do not know, unless you are here for a long story, my friend.
Perhaps another time then.
Perhaps when you return, yes. A long story of a faithful boy. He found 4 charms of gold. He kind of like slides off to the side and tries to get comfortable.
And Zorn is kind of looking at him, kind of curious because he's trying to process what he's heard before about what he has said and all of that, that kind of all of that like extra details that he may have let slide without realizing.
Make an insight check.
Clickety clackety, I'm in danger. Hold on. Insight. That's a 16.
Very hard to read. Whatever he said is what he meant to say, and not a sentence or word more.
And you said that they are that the clergy is in the south. You said.
See him give a exhausted nod. Yes. There again, as I said, the Order of the Clayish Rose. They are maybe about 500, but they are all fine warriors, clerics alike. If you can, send them here. If not, at least the news of why they did not come will bring a lesser sorrow to my people, or even myself.
He nods and kind of looks to the rest of the group. Shall we?
Indeed. The quicker we do this, the quicker we can help these folk.
I do have one thing to ask, though.
Yes, your question. How might I help you?
And he's going to carefully approach him, and he's
Okay.
going to pull out one of the stones that he found.
Gonna
I
look
have
at it.
located these within your sewers when doing an odd job.
Where in the sewers did you find that?
He's going to recount the one that he found when they were clearing out the sewer from the spiders and cube.
And he,
Uh,
I have no idea how they snuck into the city, much less the sewers. But that is a sending stone, or at least a calling stone. It allows a user a one-time transportation to and from both stones.
Could this explain how they got into the city?
Perhaps, but they seem, whatever they seemed to be rather powerful individuals. They could not tell you why.
I just want to make you aware of this before we headed out.
Not. I thank you. I will see if I cannot find a gracious gift or a tip to give you once you return to me. And he gives you a tired smile.
Someone would do the Dragonborn equivalent of a smile, I guess, because it's a little bit difficult, I think. And
If you
he
do so, and he just kind of like dozes off slightly, and you see his head just kind of dink hit against the backside of the tub. It looks like he's expended the energy he has retained.
Well,
we should get
let
going.
us. Yes, let us see what we can. Let us head back to to. We see what we can salvage. I'm just trying to think for a moment. Is the south towards the port or towards the land? Trying to remember the compass from last session.
I think, if I remember correctly, the south ran along the coast.
You're allowing me to give you an idea. This will
Alright.
be your cardinal directions here. This is your that cross is your compass. Yes.
Okay.
Here is where you are. This is your south. This is
Okay.
your north. This is your east. This is your west. The port side is always to the west. The
Mm.
gates are over to your east. There are 3 gates to the east. 1, 2, and 3. There's the northern gate, the eastern gate, and the southern gate.
Either go on foot or probably sail along the coast. So it's kind of looking back to the group of at least their options.
Well, which do you think would be do you think would be best? Because there's no guarantee that they're along the coast.
Yeah, might be better if we just start walking there.
Well, if you guys need a map, you can try and find a map.
Yeah, I think
Let-
that might be a good idea. Is like just us trying to find a map and then trying to locate whereabouts
see-
this
Let us see if
order
we
would
can
be.
scavenge up a map, and if this clergy places on along the coastline, we can go by boat, so it's much faster. If not, well, let's go by foot. We shouldn't risk the boat then.
Yeah, if we can use the boat, then it's beneficial. But if we can't, then we'll have to do it on foot and just do the long way.
Where will you guys be looking for a map?
Yeah, I think we'd be looking for a map. Zorm at least would be.
Who are you going to ask, or are you just going to look for one?
I'm going to kind of look to see if there's like one in the general like place that they're in. See if
Nerem
like
would.
there's just one around, and if not, he's going to ask someone. He's
Nerem
just
is
gonna
going
ask
to
around.
suggest that maybe we visit the quartermaster of the barracks. They might know at least where to procure one, if not even provide one.
That might be it. Nerem's a barbarian. And he's more smart than me.
He was a guard. He would know such a thing. Like the quartermaster usually has like an overview of the supplies, and maybe they would be able to help out, or if not, at least be able to like tell us where to procure such a thing.
Yeah, that might be beneficial. Like if Nerem is suggesting it, Zorm has no reason to say no.
So yeah, I suppose we're off to the barracks.
Are you off to the guards barracks or the retainers barracks? Because there are 2 different things. You can either go to the city guards or you can go to the Broken Ridge personal retainers. Who are you be talking to?
Probably the retainers might be the most the quickest. But like if they don't give us one, then we can go to someone that is familiar with who we are.
Yeah. So I suppose we visit the retainers barracks first, and if that doesn't work out, we could at least ask them, like if they know where we can procure such a thing, because I suppose the retainers would be at least knowledgeable about where to procure such a thing.
And we could just give reason on why we need it.
Yeah.
Because we have no reason to hide. We're working for the people that they're retaining.
It is actually easy enough to find the quartermaster / barracks, as the castle is nestled up against one of the seaside fortresses. There isn't much in the way of like decoration to the forefront until past the ballroom, so it's actually pretty easy to find. As you head out and around, you actually find that near the guard barracks resides the quartermaster, and you see that he has a small storage shed of what looks to be dried meats, extra sets of armor, weapons, and a couple of barrels of what look to be either water or some sort of fermented drink. You're not sure. But as you walk up to them, you see a rather bulky individual, not exactly male, but it looks to be a rather hefty female. You see, it looks like she's been doing this job for a while, and it looks like it's not like fat that's grown on her. It's been strength from lifting all of these heavy objects and putting them in place. She's she's roughly about maybe 5'8". She's very short, but she is very well built. And she looks at you. What can I do for you?
Hello, we're looking to procure a map of the general area.
Map of the general area? Are you talking of a map of the general area of the city? Are you talking of a map of the city? Or are you talking a map of everywhere of the Kamyar?
We're trying to find the...
It would be preferable everywhere in the Kamyar.
Yeah.
Alright. Might be able to scrounge one up for you. Might I ask if you're working for anyone related to the guard, or if I'm just going to be giving this to you for payment?
We are working for Lord Broken Ridge.
He kind of squints at you. Make me a persuasion check.
Very well. Persuasion. Okay, +4. Don't let me down. It is 17, 18, 19, 21.
21. As she squints at you, she just looks you up and down, trying to tell if you're telling her a lie or not. Then she kind of... Alright, I'll believe you. I'll talk to Lord Brokenridge later, but I'll believe you for now. And she goes back.
I guess.
One sec, allow me to go get this thing for you. I'll be right back. Alright, and I will be sending this out to you. 1 second. Save image. Well, I'll be sending this into the Discord for you guys, just so you can see.
Thank you.
This will be copy going into the no mic for you. There we go.
All right. Speaking of game, great. My bad.
Yes.
I'm gonna send you something, and this kind of relates to the other campaign.
Okay.
Real quick. This is essentially when Vientus uses one of his favorite spells.
I know that spell very well.
Very much so. But as well as look back to the group, he kind of motions a moment. We should probably grab at least as much rations as we can hold from the ship. Remember buying some before at least this all happened. So we don't need to buy any for now. That sound good with you lot?
Mm-hmm.
Those of you of the stream, this is currently the map that they're looking at.
It's only a white image on my end.
Ah, damn it. Really?
Don't worry, I'm just gonna pull it in on OBS. Give me a sec.
Fear not. It is blank, but you know what? It's fine. We can work with it.
I'm just trying to full unfamiliarize.
It's your version of the Dragon Scroll.
Have you heard of the Elder Scrolls?
No, I meant like Dragon Scroll from like Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something
Oh my
else.
god.
Okay.
There we
We
go.
went
Loaded in.
two separate directions.
Yes, but it does make more
Loaded
sense.
now.
That's really good. Yeah.
There we go.
Better?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're at
There we
That took
go.
a bit.
All right. Currently, this is what the map looks like. You are currently residing in Port Ivy. You are in this area here.
Clay
You're
Rose is
there.
Okay, the Clay Rose isn't that far.
No, it's not. It's roughly about maybe like from what you can tell of the map, it's going to take you about 2.5 days to get there.
Okay, finger. There we go. So about 2 days. It's not that bad, but it does make. Once he looks at the map and thinks a moment, he kind of starts muttering to himself. If
What's up?
they're so close, he kind of looks back to the others. You think the gnolls and that drow might have went to them first?
Only one way
That's
to
why
find out,
we're
isn't
going
there?
there. That's why he wants us to check.
Indeed.
So, if we could end up, so we end up going south. It's not that far. And there's no visible roads on this map. I'm assuming.
There are. The
Okay.
roads themselves are very faint, but the roads themselves are essentially leading from the biggest places.
Okay. Is there like a road that seems to be made between these two places though?
Oh yes, there's a direct road between Clay Rose and the Clay Rose Sanctuary in Port Ivy.
And he'll point it out, saying, "Yeah, so this is the road that we're gonna have to take. Should be easy enough, so long as we don't get any complications on the way there."
But essentially, it's like that's what the roads look like. There is one very major road that you seem to see that goes from Holbeck all the way to Port Ivy up to Sharefield, and it seems to continue all the way up to linking all the major cities. However, all of the minor roads aren't really listed. You kind of get what I mean there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So should we rest and then go out, or should we just go straight out and start making our way there? What are you guys feeling?
I think we should rest up for a day. Get our bearings. And then head out. If anything happened, it's too late anyway to do anything.
We don't know that, but I can see your point. Besides, they just attacked. Chances are they're probably still lurking around outside the city.
You guys are heading out as you just get this map. She doesn't charge you anything because you say you're working for Lord Brokenridge, and since she is a retainer, technically still a retainer, of Lord Brokenridge, she is not liable to charge someone who is working for who she works for. Unless she figures out otherwise. Now, we pick back up with you guys, getting through. Are you heading to one of the local taverns, or are you guys going to head to a little bit pricey, but you're going to head to the Queen's Eye?
Um, well, I think Zorn would leave it up to whoever is in charge, really. So wherever they go, he's gonna follow. He doesn't really care.
If no one else suggests anything, Naren would just say that we should probably search up one of the local taverns. being closer, like to the ports might be beneficial.
Looking at the map, from what you can tell, the natural harbor that is created by the innermost portion that seems to at relatively high ends. So if you're thinking about roughly summer and spring, the tide is really low, so Port Ivy kind of extends down further into the bay. However, once you get into like the winter months, the rain and the other bits of kind of flooding that happen raises the water level, and Port Ivy kind of recedes back to the other docks. And since it's fall, you guys aren't able to see Port Ivy or the full nature of it.
Mhm.
Hmm. We can't. Those kinds of things. A moment. Um. Then kind of. Then kind of. Seeing that now they have the map and everything. I guess it can't stop them to start exiting through the entrance, the land entrance.
Yes, it's more than easy to.
Hmm.
You start heading your way out, and exiting out of the main castle from the Broken Ridge State, traveling down through the high tops, getting down, you actually get to one of your favorite taverns, one of the locals' favorite, at least, the Spoon's Bowl. Mm, You are able to get some rooms and some good food and drink. It'll roughly cost you about 3 silver, but all on a decent day's rest and a good portion of relaxing.
Okay, Naram's gonna pick up the tab for that.
So the total for everybody, it'll run you about 9 silver.
Perfect. That's exactly the spare change.
All right, good to know. The food is good. I mean, it's not exactly high class. You're served a couple of relatively thick steaks with some potatoes and what seem to be fish mostly.
It's better than burnt
Jeez.
salad.
Yep. The drink you're served seems to be a rather not necessarily well off ale. I mean, it's pretty heavily watered down. But afterwards, you seem to be served what looks to be a whitish wine. It's not too bad. I mean, it seems they take more pride in their wine than they do their ale here.
But yeah, I suppose that concludes our daily business, doesn't it?
I am pretty sure, yeah, because not really.
Like,
Not
no one has
really.
anything to do before resting up and heading out tomorrow.
Hmm. Well, actually, other than Zorn, who's gonna spend some time working on his bag of holding.
Uh, make me an Arcana check.
That's a dirty 20.
All right. Your bag of holding is almost near completion.
Yay.
Roughly about another 2 to 3 days, and you should be good to go. And Nero will not have to break his back carrying everything anymore.
Yay!
Hooray.
Nim, you can store food in this.
Great.
You can store all of your food in this.
What?
Even the stolen stuff.
Even the st-
Ha, ha.
He would have probably discarded it. Or at least stored it on the ship. If nothing else. Because, like, what are you going to do with ship's rations?
Well, they aren't the best. I mean, it's mostly like dried tack and such.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could still eat it. It's not. It's really not the best
Yeah,
stuff.
it's
But
it's edible, but like he has normal rations as well. He wouldn't need to lug those around.
nope. Why eat shitty food when you have good food?
Oh, good in
Yes,
quotation
food.
marks.
Touche.
Let's just say better food.
All right. So, as you guys find yourselves awakened the next morning, you find yourselves gather your equipment and setting off. As you set yourselves off, you discern from your travels that you're going to be needing to use for your quickest exit to the southern gate. As you head to the southern gate, you quickly realize that most of the gates are shut down. They have been closed off for further notice. However, the side gates, or at least the entrances that are mainly used for small traffic or even whenever the gate needs to have maintenance or repairs used, they are currently allowing through like refugees, passersby, merchants, the like. But it seems if they don't have the requirements necessary, or whatever that is, you don't know, to come back in, it seems they're turned away. But at the moment, you see it's a very long line to get out the southern gate. You wait for roughly about 3 hours until finally it's your turn at the gate. You're stopped by the guards. The guard captain looks at you. Well, well, well. If it isn't you blokes, I've seen you before. You're the champions of the what was that? The victory pits, weren't you?
Aye.
Shame
Might
you
not
weren't
be
around
us.
to kill those beasts that were around here, were you? You hear a bit of a
Mm.
bite to his voice after that. What's your business leaving the city?
Lord, if I
Heading
may,
to
he kind of.
Playrose.
We're heading to Claros under orders of Lord Brokenridge, trying to figure out why the heck they aren't here.
Clayrose. All right, you're heading down to Clayrose, so I understand that. We're looking for Lord Brokenridge. Checks that. Very well. Pay your toll and move on.
How much?
It'll cost you gold piece.
That's paid immediately by Nerim.
Why does
Ah.
one have to base everything?
I'm surprised Nerm isn't. It doesn't have any money. Then again, we did win the.
Just never have money.
Then again, we did win the part of the pot, so I shouldn't be saying that.
He's well off. Might as well pay the gold piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, on
if-
your
if I-
way. Oh, yes.
If I may, do you happen? He kind of looks around more. Do you happen to have any horses available?
You're asking the guard for horses.
I would assume some
Right
guards
n-
would have horses for the scouting.
Right now, we're doing everything we can to the city. We don't want you selling on equipment unless somebody needs it. And you're talking to the wrong person over here. So if you need horses, you talk to somebody else. You talk to a merchant, not the guard. Move along.
Very well, very well. Kind of just like move his hand submissively as he, of course, moved to leave the city.
So finally exiting out of the southern gate of Port Ivy, you step out for the first time from beyond the gates and walls of Port Ivy once more. You see rolling flat grasslands that seem to just persuade out. And as you look about them, you see dozens of farmsteads that look to be hundreds of acres in length. You now see where Port Ivy gets most of its food. As you continue heading out, you see that the farmsteads about, even though they are massive in size, you see some of them are still burning, as the crop seems to have been burned on the way out by either the gnolls or the drow. As you pass by, it's almost disheartening to see groups of farmers, or even what seem to be either their slaves or their workers, working through these burned fields, clearing away crop that's no longer usable, or even making sure that the roots themselves have not been burned so that they might still be alive. As you follow the road out for about 3 miles, it starts splitting, and you see each way is denoted by the name of the next major city. You see to your north, or would be your left, is saying Lannerwood, or the Lanner Coast, but you see someone has changed it to say Lannerwood. And you see to your right to the south would be either Holbeck, but you do see there is a small sign to the side denoting Clay Rose Sanctuary. It seems someone put it there almost as an afterthought. Marching out along the way, following the road, you notice the road itself is actually pretty well made. It's not just cobbled stone. It's definitely not a Roman road. It seems to be a very fine, coarse gravel road. Washes away here and there as you see most of the gravel looks to be spread out along the sides, but it seems to be reinforced here and there. Those of you helming the expedition, I would like you to go ahead and make me a perception check. Those of you keeping watch.
Um,
So is anyone going to do it, or does Naram have to?
I'll
Sorry,
do it.
I had
Perception.
having some issues.
Okay.
I got
So
22.
it's like, if nobody's keeping an eye out, I can always roll an
I was
encounter
trying.
chart.
I tried to roll and the freaking tab crashed,
drops
so
keep
I had to
disappearing.
refresh
I
it.
don't know where they
But I
Okay.
got 22 from a 17 plus 5.
Right? Keeping an eye out along the road. Most of what you see looks to be just destroyed farmland. You see whatever made its way out cut a swath of destruction through the land. Doesn't matter what it was, but you see things have been torn apart, burned, scathed. You're not sure if anything's been salted, but you're pretty sure most of the stuff around here has been just destroyed. It's gonna take a while for it to be repaired. Passing by as the day starts ending, the farmsteads grow further and further behind you. You see the faint glow of torchlight and lamplight as workers are working through the night to try and put together what might be left, or even try and reinvigorate the life that was once in these farms.
Mm.
You, yes.
Velas kind of notes that the destruction on the path, it kind of gives them general idea what they are probably about to meet. But he could either guess of two things. One, they came from the south, and as they head north, they were assuming the drow and the crap. I forget the name of those uh, beasts uh, that were
Knowles.
helping the drow. The gnolls
No.
were raising along their way, or after the entire fight, they were heading south, raised the farmland along the way, and are probably attacking Clayrose right now. At least that's what his little ramblings gave off, at least of the two potential things that could have happened here.
So, as these thoughts cross your mind, and this day starts to end roughly about 8 o'clock in the evening, you know you've made it a good, decent while. You might be able to reach Clay Rose in maybe about a day, day and a half possibly. But as night falls, you guys set up camp. Are you camping on the road or off the road?
Um, think maybe they would camp off the road to just let so that way passerbyers could just pass them.
So,
Go off-road it is then.
make me an investigation check if you want to try and find somewhere nice to camp.
Let's see, investigations. Is anyone going to roll or shall I roll?
I'll roll.
Well, who's looking?
I am.
Okay, go for it. Make your investigation check.
Okay, so 17 plus 5, so 22.
I'm assuming they're around this area then? If you look on the map.
Yeah, you're just about halfway there, yeah.
Very well.
As you camp out for the night and you look over, you see what looks to be a small caravanneering spot. It looks to be a spot that's been through the grass that's kind of growing roughly about hip to torso height. You see that it's been somewhat pushed down or even cut apart. As you see, this spot here has been used by many a caravan as a stopping point just before Port Ivy. You see that the remnants of multiple fires are here as the stone circles or even the burnt, blackened spots in the dirt depict where a fire was lit. As you set yourselves off for the campsite, you set yourselves up. Who will be doing the night watch?
Um,
I suppose Naren will take watch.
Zone will take a watch.
So, first watch with Niram. Go ahead and make me a perception check, please.
That's a 7. Great.
You see off in the distance to the south what looks to be torchlight, possibly. From this distance, it looks like torchlight. But it's miles and miles away. The pain of having all of this flat land is that you can see for miles. So roughly what you can possibly tell is like a day away. The only reason you can see it on such a low perception is just due to the nature of how dark it is out. And you see that the faint bits of torchlight are standing still, but they're arranged on some sort of hillside. Nothing bothers you about it. It's just there.
As long as nothing else happens, he's just gonna. Well,
That you're aware of? No.
yeah, no.
Everything's
Then
okay.
he's just gonna sit through his watch, great axe in hand, and as soon as it is over, he's gonna wake Zoram for the next shift.
Zoram, you are awoken as the next shift comes and your watch is called.
Scream up and boat up. Uh, 23.
3. As this goes through, you're looking over, and Niram does tell you about the torchlight he saw. But as you kind of pick it up and look at it, the torchlight doesn't look small enough to be a torch. Looks like it might be some sort of a fire or some sort of a like stack of a fire. And you see it's aligned along the hillside, and you kind of take a slight interest to it, but you know it's too far away to even get to tonight and come back. The rest of your watch goes without hindrance. Nothing seems to disturb you, except that burning fire off in the distance. There's 3 of them, and they don't move at all throughout the night. And as the next morning starts to dawn, you see as the fires themselves are still billowing smoke. It's like some sort of a smokestack or even a fire stack, maybe even a pyre, you're not sure. Just looking at it. and it looks like it's been burning for a while, even from this distance. And
Looks
as
like
morning
they missed a few.
and as morning starts sprouting, we'll go ahead and call it there, as the fires are burning into the sky. As that is our 2-hour mark for our catching up of session. So, that was a bit interesting.
It was.
A little bit of role play here and there, and a bit of a element
A
of
bit.
finding out just what happened.
And a
Yeah,
little
I'm
bit
really
of
sorry
drama
that
to
I
add
keep
to
on.
that.
I'm really
Right.
sorry that I can't control it when I just can't control it when people suddenly
Hey.
come down and start yelling.
We've dealt with it before, and if that's why I narrate, like you heard me narrating. I don't mind to have to do it. I mean, it's a bit weird when I have to do it, but I don't mind doing it at all. Nonetheless, for those of you in the stream who managed to stick with us for the whole of the 2 hours, I know it was a draw of a long time with talking and not a sword being thrown in anger, but with words. Nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope you come to catch us in the next one, which would be next Saturday, roughly about 8 o'clock European Central Time for the Germans. Roughly either about 30 minutes to an hour before for the our Spanish and or British. Then after that, I believe it's for 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time for our East Coast United States fans. And then over on the West Coast, you have, I believe, what would be 11 to 10 o'clock in the afternoon. Or, no, that'd be 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Nonetheless, thank you guys for coming by. Thank you for dropping any follows, likes, and or donations. Donations are, as stated in below, they are very, very welcome. However, if you cannot do so under good conscience, do not. Nonetheless, thank you for sticking with us. It was a pleasure to have you, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. And I'll hand it back to Niram to allow him to evaluate and or get through the rest of his announcements that he needs to tell you about his streaming schedule.
Yeah, thank you, Grape. And also, thank you for the session. It was fun, albeit riddled with tech problems and other issues. Yeah, thanks for sitting through these 2 hours of pure and utter brain melting, at least for me. Maybe I'm the only one. But yeah, as Grape said, the next session will hopefully be next Saturday at 8 p.m. CET, Central European Time. And the other time, so 2 p.m. Eastern, around noon-ish for the West Coast. And in terms of any other content, I do not know if I currently have the energy to stream anything else. I'll have to see about that. I'm going to look into maybe playing some old RPGs, as I'm due to, honestly. I'm probably going to look into maybe preparing either some of the older Shin Megami Tensei games, so stuff like 1, 2, SMTF, or maybe I'm going to just completely branch out into a different franchise. So trying stuff out like Grandia, which I've never even touched before, but I'll have to look into that. If all else fails, it's probably just going to be like Final Fantasy VII Original. But yeah, thanks for sticking around, and hope you have a nice evening. And or whatever it is in your time zone. Stay safe, please.